Before Stonehenge, before the pyramids, a temple rose from the hills of Turkey and changed everything we thought we knew about history. This is Göbekli Tepe, the world's first temple. But why? Who built it? And how did they manage to construct such a monument thousands of years before man invented the wheel, let alone metal tools? Join us as we travel to Turkey and uncover the fascinating history of Göbekli Tepe, the world's first temple and the cradle of humanity. In 1964, a well-known German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt came across an ancient settlement called Tel Arpacia while conducting excavations. As he continued his exploration of the area, he stumbled upon something that would change the course of history forever. Although it wasn't quite what he had expected to find. At first, all he saw were a few large stones scattered across the landscape, which are known locally as menhirs. However, when he and his team began digging around the stones, they realized that they had stumbled upon something truly remarkable. What they uncovered was a vast complex of temples, some pillars with intricate carvings, and even animal bones dating back more than 12,000 years. Gobekli, located in southeastern Turkey, is now considered the oldest known religious sanctuary in the world. It predates Stonehenge by almost 7,000 years and the Egyptian pyramids by more than 10,000 years. That's a lot of history. It also makes it older than many of the world's most famous archaeological sites, including the city of Jericho, the Sphinx, and the capital of the Sumerian Empire, Eridu. And yet most people have never heard of Göbekli Tepe. But what makes Göbekli so special, and why is it considered the cradle of humanity? When construction of the site began around 9600 BC, humans were still living in caves. Most people didn't even know how to grow crops or domesticate animals yet. And the idea of building permanent structures was still thousands of years away. Göbekli Tepe completely changed our understanding of human history because it shows that our ancestors were capable of building complex structures long before they developed agriculture, domesticated animals, or even invented pottery. In fact, Göbekli Tepe predates the traditional start of civilization by several thousand years. So who built Göbekli Tepe and what was its purpose? Unfortunately, we don't have any written records from the time period, so everything we know is based on archaeological evidence. What we do know is that Göbekli Tepe was constructed during the pre-pottery Neolithic period, which lasted from roughly 10,000 to 8,000 BC. During this time, humans were still hunter-gatherers, but they had started working together in larger groups to hunt large game. They also began to develop new technologies such as spears and fishing hooks. Some experts believe that the increase in social complexity and technological advancement during this time may have been driven by the need to build more sophisticated structures like Göbekli Tepe. However, there are no written records or other evidence to support this theory. Other experts believe that the people who built Göbekli Tepe were part of a lost civilization that predated the Sumerians. According to this theory, the Sumerians were not the first advanced civilization in the region. Instead, they inherited their knowledge and technology from an earlier culture that had flourished in southern Turkey. This lost civilization is often referred to as the Saffian culture, after the site where it was first discovered. Proponents of this theory point to the fact that the Saffian culture flourished in the same region where Göbekli Tepe was later built as evidence of their connection. They also note that the Saffian culture was highly advanced for its time, with a sophisticated understanding of mathematics and astronomy. However, there is no direct evidence linking the Saffian culture to Göbekli Tepe itself. There are two theories about how Göbekli Tepe was constructed. The first is that it was built over a long period of time by multiple groups of people. If true, this would make sense, as there are several different architectural styles present at the site. The second theory is that it was built relatively quickly by a single group of people. This theory is supported by the fact that all of the pillars are made from the same type of limestone and feature similar carvings. Ultimately, we may never know for sure how Göbekli Tepe was built. But thanks to modern technology, archaeologists are able to piece together the history of this amazing site one stone at a time. Archaeologists estimate that the entire site was built over a period of several hundred years between 9,600 and 8,000 BC. The first phase of construction began around 9,600 BC with the erection of the circular enclosure wall. This was followed by the construction of the main temple complex, which consisted of a series of pillars arranged in a circular pattern. During the second phase of construction, which began around 9,000 BC, the pillars were decorated with intricate carvings and the site was expanded to include additional structures. The third and final phase of construction began around 8,000 BC and saw the construction of more pillars and the addition of more carvings to the existing structures. The discovery of Göbekli Tepe has had a profound impact on our understanding of human history. It shows that our ancestors were capable of building complex structures and engaging in sophisticated social and religious practices long before the development of agriculture. It also suggests that the transition to settled life and the development of civilization were not a linear process, but rather a series of steps that took place over a long period of time. Göbekli Tepe was likely a religious or ceremonial center, but its exact purpose is unknown. It may have been used for rituals related to fertility, hunting, or the afterlife. Some experts believe that the site was used as an astronomical observatory, pointing out that some of the pillars align with important stars and constellations. Others believe that the site was used for burials, noting that human remains have been found near some of the pillars. Still, others believe that the site was a combination of all three. There is evidence to support each of these theories, but ultimately, the true purpose of the site remains a mystery. To date, archaeologists have identified more than 200 pillars at the site, each weighing several tons. The pillars were carved with a variety of symbols and motifs, including animals, plants, and geometric patterns. Some of the pillars also have holes drilled into them, which may have been used for ropes or other climbing aids. The animals depicted on the pillars include lions, bulls, gazelles, and snakes. These animals were likely chosen for their symbolic meaning rather than their physical characteristics. For example, lions were seen as symbols of strength and power, while bulls were seen as symbols of fertility and virility. The plants and geometric patterns carved on the pillars may have had religious or ceremonial significance. One of the most intriguing aspects of the carvings is the use of spirals. Spirals are found all over the world and have been associated with a variety of cultures and beliefs. In some cultures, spirals represent the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In others, they symbolize the connection between the earth and the heavens. The presence of spirals at Göbekli Tepe suggests that the people who built the site may have had a deep understanding of cosmology and the natural world. Many people who visit Göbekli Tepe are struck by the similarity between the carvings and those found at other ancient sites around the world. For example, the bull-like creatures carved at Göbekli Tepe bear a striking resemblance to the bulls carved at the ancient site of Çatalhöyük. Similarly, the lion-like creatures carved at Göbekli Tepe are reminiscent of the lions carved at the ancient Mesopotamian site of Lagash. These similarities suggest that the people who built Göbekli Tepe may have had contact with other cultures, either through trade or warfare. It's possible that they shared knowledge and ideas with their neighbors, which may have led to the spread of similar artistic motifs. Another interesting aspect of the carvings is the use of abstract symbols. Some of the symbols found at Göbekli are unlike anything we've seen before, making it difficult to decipher their meaning. However, other symbols are more familiar and may have had a religious or spiritual significance. For example, the Star of Bethlehem is found carved on several of the pillars at the site. This suggests that the people who built Göbekli Tepe may have believed that the star had a special significance, perhaps as a symbol of the divine or a guide to the afterlife. One of the most shocking facts about Göbekli Tepe is that it was intentionally buried. Sometime around 8,000 BC, the people who built the site covered it over with dirt and debris, effectively hiding it from view. This is evidenced by the fact that the upper portions of many of the pillars are missing, suggesting that they were deliberately broken off and removed. In addition, a thick layer of dirt and debris covers the entire site, indicating that it was deliberately buried. There are a few possible explanations for why the site was buried. One theory is that the people who built Gobekli Tepe abandoned it when they migrated to new settlements. Another theory is that the site was destroyed by a natural disaster such as a flood or earthquake. However, there is evidence to support either of these theories, leaving the true reason for the burial of Gobekli Tepe a mystery. The discovery of Gobekli Tepe has rewritten history and shown that our ancestors were more advanced than we previously thought. It's a reminder that there is still so much to learn about the world and that there are countless mysteries waiting to be uncovered. So what do you think? What is the secret of Gobekli Tepe? Let us know your theory in the comments below. We would love to hear your thoughts. Now you need to watch what really happened to King Tut's tomb. Or have a look at this.